The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
You had Chris Weidman defeating Bruno Silva in the middleweight division. Chris Weidman, I think it's his second fight after that nasty leg break. And originally, this was ruled a TKO win for Weidman. And we talked about the judges in the athletic commissions not jumping on things and changing it. They went back and changed this one, but they changed it to a technical decision by Chris Weidman. I don't even know how this works. But because of all the eye pokes that happen, I watched this fight, but it's kind of a blur, and I wrote some notes down, but my notes have disappeared. So, Amaya, how did this fight play out, if you recall off the top of your head?
I mean, the biggest thing that stuck out to me for this was that Bruno Silva was just slow and not very active. You mentioned the highlight of it, that it was originally a TKO, but they changed it to a decision by the commission because Silva had an eye poke, and I don't know if it's by state, but I've seen this before, that when they say somebody can't continue, they automatically go to the cards. Like sometimes you get a no contest and things like that, but sometimes they go to what the scores were. Where was this one at?
Atlantic City.
I don't know what was different about it. I mean, the biggest thing that stuck out to me was Silva was just, kind of slow and not very active. Weidman, what can you say about him that we haven't already said? He's not who he used to be.
What stood out to me is that he's still not afraid to throw those kicks. I didn't really know him as a big kicker before the injury, but I guess he has more confidence in it because he's throwing out a lot of kicks. When Bruno did throw, it looked like it had intent behind it, but he wasn't really throwing that much. I don't know. This is a weird fight. I guess Weidman looked good for, his age and him coming back from that injury. But it's just a weird fight overall. What were your thoughts on this one, Steve?
Yeah, I was thank you. The thing you let me know, I almost missed card. This is where I tuned in. Weidman, every time he threw a kick, I was like, just because every time somebody has a devastating injury like Silva or Weidman, that's one injury I don't like seeing on TV. But every time he threw it, I was like, ugh. But he was active. Saw him get caught a few times, but he seemed like he was the aggressor, and I'm pretty sure that's what won him the fight. Had a Silva on the back pedal, from what I remember. I don't know if you're going to add on after the fight. I mean, Weidman, there's a few things that I have not liked him for over the years, and he just rubbed me the wrong way. Celebrating when you blatantly see somebody leg in half bending, and we see him do it again.
Anderson Silva.
Yeah, it's funny he does, doing it with the Silvas, huh? This is another Silva. And it puts a sour taste in my mouth, to where me, just to be an observant person, I would just be concerned of, like, is this fight going to be overturned? This dude's complaining about his eye, and this dude's celebrating, trying to almost win the crowd like that didn't happen. I don't like Weidman for that. I think he did that more than 2 times that I remember, but 2 significantly. Good win for him, I guess, because he needed it. Like you say, he's throwing his kicks, and he expressed how he said he was scared in his last fights to throw it, but like you said, we were seeing him throw it, and he lucked out.
So, am I out? Did you watch his post-fight interview?
No, I didn't see the post-fight. I just skipped through that.
I don't know if you saw it, Steve.
I did.
But, so he was saying he told Silva that I got poked in the eye too. So he's like,
Yeah, I remember.
what was that about? He was like, I got poked in the eye because the crowd was booing. He's like, I got poked in the eye too. I told him that you got to keep going or something like that.
Yeah, I remember he definitely said that. He said, don't go on your knees, basically complain on your feet, because then you give a bad impression on the, judges.
Seems like
Or
he was
not the
making
judges, but
seems like he was making excuses for his egregious actions in there.
it's like, bro, it was a foul. Like, what are you talking about?
I don't know. So it was a weird fight. Well, like, so where does Weidman go after this? He doesn't have anything to prove. He's a former champion. He won, but it wasn't like super dominant, and he had those eye pokes and whatnot. Like, what do you even do with this guy now?
Man, part of me just says, retire, go out on a win. I mean, I really don't want to see him fight anymore just because of his history and stuff. He's got a lot of losses in his last like 10 fights. If he's going to stick around, try to do some money fights or something. I don't know that there's a high demand to see him in a high profile money fight, but like you could put him up there. It'd be cool. MVP versus Chris Weidman.
Why would you want to do that to Weidman? I think MVP would murder him.
Just something like a catch weight, or let MVP go up there to middleweight. I think it'd be a fun fight to see. Maybe Weidman versus, I don't know, maybe like a Chris Curtis. I don't want to see
that might be fun actually. Even though Chris Curtis is fighting next weekend.
Yeah,
or this weekend. I mean.
Yeah, I think just kind of stylistically, the Chris Curtis fight would be fun to kind of watch, but I don't think that there's any place for Weidman to make a run or put him against somebody that's highly ranked. You can't put him in there against a Whitaker, a Costa, a Vittori, or somebody like that. So you got to get that back into the pack if you're going to even give him somebody ranked.
Okay, so I'm looking rankingmma.com. I don't definitely not put him against the top 15 guy, but what about like a Brad Tavares who's coming off a loss against Gregory Rodriguez, somebody like that?
That sounds very interesting. Actually, that's a perfect matchup. Actually,
would you like something like that, Admire?
Yeah, I was trying to think who else is outside of that top 15 that
Tavares is number. So sorry to cut you off. Tavares is number 30. Weidman's 35. So let me look underneath Weidman's rankings. Oh, what about this guy, Eric, your boy Anders? Even though he's coming off a win, I mean, Weidman's technically coming off a win as well.
I like that one too. They workhorse like they almost fight almost the same workhorse style.
And let me go back and retract what I said, because Weidman already faced Tavares. That's the fight that he came back in his comeback fight. So we won't want to see that rematch. But right. Yeah, what about like an Eric Anders?
Yeah, somebody like that. Derek Brunson, he left the UFC, didn't he?
Yeah, I want to say he's not in there.
Weidman and Brunson would have been a fun fight, I think.
Rockhold Redemption would have been good, but Rockhold's not in there either.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that it would have been a good one for Weidman's next.
What about like a Marc-Andre Barrios? We talked about him a few cards ago. That fight he had against like Chris Curtis.
Yeah, just a wild thought. See what happens at UFC 300. But Bo Nickel's trying to get in that top.
No, I don't want to see Weidman go out, get destroyed like that. Like you said, he needs like somebody that's older. He just be getting fed to the wolves. That'd be a good rub for Nickel for name value. But if I'm Chris Weidman, like what does that do for me?
What's Darren Till ranked?
Too high for Weidman to face. He's definitely But is he in the middleweight division still? Didn't he go back down to welterweight?
I think he took a break.
Yeah, he did. I think he did. I don't see him in the rankings at all for middleweight. But that wouldn't. I guess that wouldn't be too bad actually. Now that I think about it, because it's not like Till is a world beater right now, so it might not be that bad of a fight actually. Now that I think about it, Admire.
Yeah, and I mean, Weidman could probably go up to light heavy if there's anybody on the tail end of that as well.
We saw what happened when Luke Rockhold did that. I don't think that'd be a wise decision.
Yeah, Reyes got him with a little. I thought it was a pity pat hammer fist.
And it was good night for him. But I'm with Admire. There's nothing left for him to do. Just retire.
And stop giving weird post-fight fucking man. Every time that dude always does something weird in the post-fight.
Still my boy.
Still my boy.
Never forget. But yeah, we'll see what happens with the veteran Weidman. Thank you for checking out this Haymaker Combat Sports segment. This full episode can be found on the Haymaker Combat Sports YouTube page and in audio form on all major podcast platforms. Until next time, peace.